The first thing that that I think is really important to making the college application process successful is to focus on fit. That I think a lot of college counselors will talk about college as being sort of a match to be made, not a race or a match to be won. And so I think it can feel I had a colleague at one of my schools who said, 90% of the media attention in our country is focused on about 10% of the universities that exist. That, a lawsuit that is affecting Harvard and Yale garners massive media attention, but things that are going on at, state public universities or regional private schools often don't make the news, and yet that's where the vast majority of students in this country earn their college degrees. And there are, I think, I think it's fair to say that as Americans, that we're very blessed to have such a diverse array of universities that are available to students. And so I think that I say all of that because it. I think that sometimes students are set up to end up feeling very stressed out about college applications because they feel that the only way to have success in the process is to earn admission to a highly, highly selective university. And of course, if that's the only way that you can make your parents happy or feel like you have done something good, then yeah, if you're, then it's going to be really stressful because, as you've probably read, there are a lot of, not a lot, but there are a handful of colleges that that admit, less than 10% of the students who apply. So I think that if you are the parent of students who are in middle school or early in their high school careers, that you can save some sort of anxiety by just setting the parameters at the very outset of the process and making sure that your children understand that the goal of this is to find the fit for you that will be a college where you're going to thrive, where you're going to be happy, where you're going to be challenged and grow. And obviously at the end, you got to get a job or go to grad school or whatever it is. But that the focus really is on the fit and not so much on collecting trophies, acceptances to colleges where where it's very rare to do so. Um, and so I think I want to move from there into kind of some thoughts on boundaries for communication. And I think these are tips that are a little bit more geared for parents of students who are beginning or ending the college application process. So your juniors and your seniors in high school. Um, One of the things that I often hear from my clients is, can you tell her this, because when I tell her anything, she doesn't want to listen, or she doesn't take it seriously if it's coming from me because I'm her dad or I'm her mom. Students will say, I just want to be left alone on this. I don't want to talk about it all the time. And so I think that one way to provide or to sort of set the groundwork for a more peaceful process in your household is to set some really intentional boundaries around when, how often, and with whom the student is going to talk about their college applications. And so this may sound kind of overly, I, it may sound overly prescriptive, but I think that setting some goals around how, like, when are we going to talk about your college applications? It allows for the student to then feel as if they have some control and that you're not, as a parent, sort of nagging them. And so what I have found is successful with some families that I work with is that you say 1 or 2 nights a week are sort of the times that college admissions, college applications, college searches can be kind of on the table for discussion. And that leaves the other time, um, where that's not going to be the topic, that, you know, you're not, the student's not going to get grilled on like, you know, how's your essay coming along for UC Berkeley. That and I think that it allows, then you have a time designated that you get to check in with them, so you can be sure that, you know, things aren't totally falling through the cracks. But it also provides the student with the sense that, you know, they don't have to feel like they're kind of always on the hot seat, always being asked, you know, what's up with your college applications, how's your list, how are your essays, you know, where are you going to go next year. um, and so agreeing on exactly when you're going to talk about it can be pretty helpful. The other thing that I think is helpful in terms of setting boundaries or parameters is deciding who the student will speak with about the college application process. And I think that obviously the student's counselor, whether that's at their high school or if you work with a counselor outside of your high school, that person needs to know what's going on, because that's, you know, that's their job to sort of help you with the process. Obviously, you hope that the student will keep you as a parent in sort of as part of the inner circle of their college application conversations. Um, but I think that a lot of times students feel, or what I hear from clients often is that they feel as if they have no privacy in the process. That that, you know, at school, if depending on where they go to high school, what size of school it is, and what type of high school, that they may often feel as if everyone knows their business. You know, that what their friends are talking about in the hallways or before a class or on Zoom in the case of this fall, that that's what everyone's focused on, and that they don't have any privacy because it's sort of, you know, they feel like it's inappropriate for them to say, well, I'm you know, I don't really want to talk about where I'm applying or where I visited. And I think that that can be very, very difficult for students to navigate. And I think that obviously, as adults, you know, we get a lot more choice in who we sort of choose to interact with outside of our jobs. And so, you know, if there's something that I'm working on or struggling with, I get to choose who I divulge that to. But and I think that it's important for high school students to know that they can do that too, that just because other people in their class or other people on their soccer team are choosing to share a lot of details about their college application process doesn't mean that they have to do that. And it can be really helpful to give some thought at the outset about how much do you want to share with others, and or do you want this to be kind of a process that is a little bit more private with you and your counselor and your family, or maybe a handful of close friends. And so making sure that students are aware that they have agency in deciding how many details they want to share about where they're applying and where they were admitted, and, you know, did they earn a scholarship, that those are things they get to decide who knows that information, and that they can have privacy in the process if that is helpful to them. Now, for some students, sharing details with their friends is really important to them, and and that's kind of how they relate and how they feel connected to others. And in that case, that's fine. But you want to make sure that they know that that this is a personal process and it's their choice who they want to share the details with.